Okay, let's try again. Welcome to the Q&A. We're going to be talking about sugar. So let me just invite Weenie onto here. As soon as she accepts, we will start. There we go.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, was that me?
Yes. How many times have you done this? It's been a while.
I thought I'd entered and then something went funny and I was like, I don't actually even know what it is. Sorry.
Jeez, where are you in the North Pole? Is it cold
I'm
there?
sorry. It's cold. It's cold in my house.
Yeah.
It's freezing. Yeah, I can't handle the cold.
No, it's cold here too, but only when the sun goes down. So I'm okay for about another hour or so. Then I'm the same.
No, the bottom half of my house is like an ice block. It's freezing.
Cool. Thanks, Weens. It's been a while, but I know this topic is very popular for a lot of people and has got a lot of interest this week. So obviously, we're going to talk about sugar and the common questions that people ask. So before I go into that, obviously, maybe it's nice for you to probably just go through and say, like, from your thoughts, like, what are the most common things that you get and how you help people with especially when they start with us with sugar, because everybody seems to think it's bad, that you got to cut it, you got to completely remove it. And obviously people who follow us see that we enjoying ourselves, and sugar is still a part of our daily lives, so you can have the best of both worlds. So maybe
Yes.
just go into that, and then we'll go into the common questions, and I'm pretty sure you'll answer most of them anyway.
Yes, for sure. So I think what people forget is that sugar is carbs
Mm,
in a nutshell. So I think carbs and sugar get a really bad rep. Is sugar bad? I don't want to use the word bad. It might not be ideal for
mm,
whatever situation, or for whatever your goals are at that specific time. It's not bad though. So we don't have to cut out sugar. We don't need to cut out carbs, no matter what your goal really is, but it does need to be managed.
yeah,
So I like to use the word managed because everything needs to be managed, depending on what your goal is. And not just your goal, depends on what type of training you do. It depends on your body composition. So I do really need context because
yeah.
everybody is different, everybody is unique, and everybody will have a different target
Mm,
when it comes to carbohydrates and sugar.
yeah.
But it's not evil. It's definitely not evil. It's not demonic. It won't kill you. A little bit of sugar, a little everything in moderation is what I say.
Yeah, I mean, you helped me. I think you told me that if I stay within my 38 grams allowance because I think guys is it 38 and women's 28, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for the during that.
Um, it, no, it really just depends too. So as a coach, I don't really per se look at your sugar every single day. There's certain targets I will look at. So depending on what your carb target is and what that overall target is, I will look for things like how much fiber
Mm,
you're getting in per day. And I will look at things like your saturated fats total.
mm,
And if those two numbers are good, so if your fiber is nice and high, your saturated fat is below a certain level, then I'm not too worried about what your sugar target is at the end of the day, if you are hitting your targets beautifully.
yeah.
So if you come back to me and you're like, I am starving, I just can't seem to get full, and your sugar is like through the roof and your fiber is low, then that is definitely something we would dial in on.
Because I know you also taught me, like when I'm training, instead of just drinking water, you told me to have game, isotonic game, which is like a sugary drink, but it's good carbs for while I'm training. I mean, that was
Yes.
a really good nugget that you gave me, which I use still. And even with that, the sugar is not a problem. I mean, I track the sugar because I like to know, and it's never like hindered my progress. So
100%. So for someone like you, we need to just be very specific and context dependent
yes,
because you're different to other people who might be watching. So for you, per se, your carb targets is nice and high.
yeah,
Your goals right now are more performance based, looking good. Your body fat is in a position where you are quite lean, so you can handle that sugar just that much better. And it's helping you fuel those activity levels. So for someone like you, it's brilliant. But then again, for someone who is overweight, their body fat is on the higher end of the spectrum, maybe they're doing yoga and Pilates as their activity levels, then I wouldn't recommend they sip game during their Pilates session. So everybody's
The type
different.
of
Yeah.
training you're doing, because obviously, like I'm doing quite the trainings and tests. So, like you say, for me, it's perfect, but it's not.
Yes.
And again, it's like people when say, "Oh, somebody says this." Like I could tell somebody, "Oh, I have game," so they can have game when they're drinking. But it's like you say, it's all about context and understanding how
Yes.
it fits your specific needs.
100%. 100%.
And like, what is the most common things that you find when you take on somebody to manage like the sugar, like because everybody's got a sweet tooth. Like I tell people, I mean, I've got a sweet tooth. You can manage it. Um, like the Greek yogurt is a great one. With the great Greek yogurt with that lean gourmet syrup, I mean, that's a game changer for me. I mean, that's like a vanilla yogurt, but instead of having a vanilla yogurt packed with sugar and this is now just pretty much all protein and no sugar. So what is the common things that you find like people that struggle with in the beginning and then they find their groove?
So I think a big one would be clients who have a sweet tooth
Hmm.
and they almost call themselves an addict. I'm a sugar addict. There's nothing I can do about it. I need sugar. Um, First of all, we need to understand what sugar actually does to your body. So when you eat something that contains a lot of sugar, it's going to increase your blood sugar levels rapidly. And then what's going to happen is it's going to decrease rapidly, just as much as it's increased.
Yeah.
So what that does is you feel full for little bits of time, and then all of a sudden you're hungry again.
Yeah.
So you're not actually satiated properly throughout the day. So that is my first thing. So I will tell people to just cut back, maybe get their sugar from some fruit that's
Mm.
high in fiber, and try and get their carbs from whole sources. So whole grains that's going to keep their blood sugar level steady, and they will naturally find that sweet tooth steadily decline
Yeah.
because they're going to feel satiated throughout the day. Their blood sugar levels are going to be stable and they'll just feel better overall. They won't get those dips and those highs where they're hungry and then they're tired, etc., etc. So that's definitely, I would think, the number one thing that we see with clients at OTG.
Like Lindsay mentioned now, the sugar crash, I think that's pretty common for a lot of people.
100%, 100%. So that's exactly what happens. And then you find you start reaching for those sugary things again because you haven't been satiated and you're hungry again.
Mm.
And that will lead to weight gain because
Yeah.
unfortunately these types of foods are higher in calories. You're never satiated, so you're eating a shitload of them and then you start to gain weight.
Yeah. So it's like not one thing is bad, it's just the combination and the chain reaction leads you to a calorie surplus, which is
100%.
that's
100%, because you just never feel full. You never feel satisfied. So you keep reaching for the wrong things, and eventually you're just going to be eating too much.
a question that gets often asked is sugar actually bad for you, or is it just the hype? And I think you touched on that. It's not.
Yeah, it's not bad for you. It might not be ideal for you in whatever circumstance you're in or for whatever goals that you might have at that time, but it's definitely not bad. It's
Mm.
it's it's not a bad thing at all.
Okay. And does sugar really cause belly fat, or is that a myth?
That's a myth. So the only thing that causes belly fat or any type of weight gain is if you're eating too much.
Yes.
So
That is,
you cannot make energy out of nothing. You need to be getting in too much energy than what you're burning, and unfortunately that leads to weight gain. The belly fat, unfortunately, could just be genetics. That's where you unfortunately put the weight on. The belly fat could be menopause related too. So unfortunately, where you put that fat on, that's going to be dependent on your genetics.
and like you mentioned fruit. Can I eat fruit if I'm trying to lose fat? Isn't fruit full of sugar?
Fruit has also been given such a bad rap, and it's crazy because, okay, it is full of sugar. It's natural sugars,
Mm,
um, but it's full of fiber, it's full of nutrients, it's full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. So it's really, really good for you
mm,
on a health perspective.
yeah.
So you definitely don't need to cut fruit out. It might need to be managed depending again on what your goals is, but you definitely don't need to cut fruit out.
It's like apples is fructose, and people say fructose is bad. So, like for example, like apples, like a lot of people will say that. Oh, but I hear that it's high in sugars.
No, 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 no. So all fruits is fructose,
Yes.
including honey too. And it gets a bad rep because they say it gets well, it does. Your liver metabolizes fructose.
Mm,
But it gets metabolized there into glucose, so if your body needs a little bit of glucose, or it gets stored as liver glycogen, which is also we need that. When our body needs energy, we might tap into those glycogen stores. So it really has been given a bad rep for nothing. And that's just people who aren't educated enough when it comes to fructose and fruits, etc. It's not bad for you. It's good for you. Obviously, it might need to be managed depending on what your total calorie targets are at the end of the day, but definitely not something I would cut out.
okay. And and you also touched on that. Like, what's the difference between natural sugars like honey or fruit and added sugars?
So the difference is the source. So natural sugars are going to come from whole foods, so your fruits, and honey, and then your added sugars are going to be from those ultra processed foods. So that's the big difference. So the whole foods full of nutrients, like we said, micronutrients, fiber, antioxidants, whereas the added sugars being those ultra
Mm.
processed foods are stripped of all that. So there's no fiber, there's no vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. So it really, the biggest difference would be from a health perspective.
And why do I get such intense sugar cravings? How do I stop them?
So we touched briefly on keeping our blood sugar level stable. So that could be potentially what's causing that. Other things like not getting enough sleep. So if we don't sleep enough, our hormones, our hunger hormones increase, our ghrelin increases, and our hormones that keep us full, leptin, decreases. So we don't feel full, we feel hungry, and that can lead to an overconsumption of food as a whole, really. And then there's also more of like probably a psychological standpoint to it too, which is not my area of expertise. So if you do suffer from binge eating or something like that, you need to chat to an expert. But when we eat sugar, we do release dopamine,
Yeah.
which is a happy hormone. So you feel good, you feel happy when you're eating those types of food. And a
Awesome.
lot of people correspond, a lot of people correspond that to, well, now I need to eat sugar to get that feeling. And that's most of the time is from underlying issues that you haven't dealt with, which is not my area of expertise. So if that's you, if you find that you're an emotional eater, if you're binge eating and you need that sugar and that food to feel happy, then you definitely need to sort that out with an expert.
And Lindsay messaged us saying, can it cause insulin resistance?
Eventually, I mean, if your body fat's at a certain point, it's nice and high, not nice and high,
Yeah.
bad high, then yes, you do start to become insulin. So that your insulin is pushing that glucose into your cells, but your cells are full. They're like, no thanks, we don't want any more glucose. We're full, and then you start becoming insulin resistant, which will lead to weight gain, and eventually, if you don't sort that out, type 2 diabetes.
Okay. And Candace,
But I've just seen something here. I
yeah.
crave sugar. And that's also. So what happens is that's a hormonal thing too.
So
So
just
a lot of girls.
obviously people what can't see that. So what question was that, Candace?
Oh, sorry. So Candace has said I only crave sugar in the week of my period, which is something that does happen. So, and that's hormone related too. So we do naturally crave more carbs actually as our period comes closer, and that's just hormone related. But our bodies can actually burn a few hundred more calories during that time. So, but that is very true. That is something that does happen.
Okay. And is sugar addiction real? Because I swear I can't go a day without it. I mean, that's also a common question.
Yes and no. So we did briefly chat on that with the
Yeah.
dopamine and the serotonin level. So it is something people do start to crave, but more often than not, it's psychological
Mm.
and something that they would need to dig deep on. And or it could just be fluctuations in their blood sugar levels. So it could be a variety of things.
Um, and last two is how much sugar is too much if you're trying to lose weight or tone up?
So this is also context dependent. So it's just going to depend on you. It's going to depend on what your overall calorie target is
Your
and your carb
level.
targets,
Yeah.
and also what your goals are. So obviously this person wants to lose weight. You are going to be in a calorie deficit. So you're not going to be eating as much as you usually would because you're trying to lose body fat now. And then it just, I mean, you can have a little bit of sugar, but you are going to have to manage it.
Yeah. And lastly, can I still enjoy treats and lose fat, or do I need to cut sugar completely? I think that's pretty much what you've touched on as well.
Yes, no, you definitely don't need to cut it out completely. I actually find still having a little bit of treats when you are dieting
Mm.
actually just makes things more bearable and you'll still see good results. So you definitely don't need to cut it out, especially if you are hitting your overall targets beautifully.
Awesome. No, that's awesome, Weens. I'll just obviously see if anybody else has any questions, guys. If anybody's got any questions, now's the time. Um, and then with regards to winning that consult with you, Weens, the response this week has been crazy. So I've actually decided to extend it till Friday because there's still people sending in the forms. Um, and afterwards, obviously, I'm going to post this, and people can still, drop a comment and enter. So I'm going to extend the deadline till Friday, and then Friday I'll announce the winner that will win a consult with you. So maybe just touch on what that consult entails, so people still have a chance to know about it.
Yes, so a one-on-one consult with me, it's quite in depth. So obviously, I do send you all the forms that I need. I get all your information. I do recommend doing some blood work prior to the consult. That just helps me help you just that much more. It's optional, so it's not compulsory, but I do recommend it. And then, based off all your info, obviously you tell me what your goals are, etc. And then I will come up with a nutritional profile for you. So I provide you calorie targets, I provide you macronutrient targets, hydration targets, and then I also provide a sample meal plan based off of those targets. So you're not like just left to track your own
Yeah.
calories. And then I also provide a supplement profile too, based off of your blood work, based off of your goals. And then we go over all of this in our call, where obviously you get the chance to ask me questions. I will go over everything with you. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Awesome. Sounds good. And yeah, otherwise that's we'll leave it at that. It's short and sweet, but it's been really good. Um, so yeah, thanks again, Weens. These little talks are becoming quite popular. People are always messaging me saying that they informative and everybody loves them. So thanks for making time available, and we will do one in a couple of weeks' time, and we'll think of something else to chat about. I've definitely got a lot of topics in mind, so it definitely won't be short of subjects to talk about. But yeah, just thanks for everybody for joining. I'll post this afterwards as well, so you can watch it if you missed it. And then I'll announce the winner on Friday.
Perfect.
Cool.
And look at this new monster I found today. I just have to show you guys. Peach. Peach. Yes, zero sugar peach.
Well, where did you find that? Is it
Stanger. I'm afraid in Stanger. I don't
oh,
know where else else is going to find that.
I'll have to go try and dig it out from somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Stanger is a crap hole, but they have some gems in there every now and then.
Cool. Thanks, Weens.
Awesome.
We'll chat soon.
All right. Bye,
Ciao.
guys.
Ciao. Bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.